All right, guys, going to be getting to the quick recap of the cut sweat for the Masters, and then we're going to get into the round 3 picks here for you. Hopefully not that long of a video, but as you guys know, really solid Masters going. Anyone that was watching like the main video or 9 to 5 member knows it's a good week so far. 86% of the player pool made the cut. 58% of the player pool is T20 or better. And then like 34% of the player pool is T10 or better. Scotty Scheffler, top 4 pick in the, or top 4 rated play in the 9 to 5 miles in first. Hideki was the top rated ownership leverage play. He's in second. And then pretty much the worst ownership leverage play you could make in Brooks Koepka. He rated 54th in ownership leverage tap. Pretty much the worst play you could make. He missed the cut, and he was a fade that I gave you guys on Monday's video as well. So really good across the board. The only blemish was Xander Schauffele. Correct play just didn't work out. That kind of happens. But overall, if you look across the board, 86% of the player pool made the cut, which if you look at the cut sweat, where around 10% had 6 for 6 across the cut line, that's a huge edge. And then you look at the 5 out of 6%, like around 35%, another big edge there. The norm was 4 out of 6 across the cut line. I would probably estimate the norm to be like 5.3 out of 6 across the cut line for just 9 to 5 nation out there. So really good stuff there, big edge, but you guys know that, so I don't want to dwell on that too much. Let's get into the round 3 picks. And I should mention the showdown data has been spot on once again this week. You guys know that. We already had a 9 to 5 member take down a showdown once again. It seems like, well, it is every week we're having someone either in contention or taking down a showdown GPP. So good stuff there. The only, all right, I don't want to get too much fluff in here, but the only bad part about round 2 showdown was that I thought there'd be a weather advantage for the AM, and we didn't really see that. Like JT was the second best pick for round 2 showdown, and obviously he ended up being that. I was worried about the weather, so I didn't end up on him. Same thing with like Shane Lowry and Hideki, who were both also like top 10 picks for showdown. I think Hideki was like 3rd and Lowry was like 8th. Didn't end up on them because of weather pretty much. And same thing with Scotty Scheffler. For the most part, he was like top 15, I think. Didn't end up on him because of weather. So that's unfortunate. The human element let me down there, but the data didn't. So let's just talk about round 3 showdown picks. And we'll talk about regression as well. So look at round 3 regression. Who's most likely to play better heading into round 3? And once again, some players are not, like it's the 4th rank here because some of the players that would have been 1, 2, and 3 didn't make the cut. So Victor Hovland would be 4th. Tommy Fleetwood 5th. 6th is going to be Mark Leishman. I'll just go down the list. Seamus Power, Tom Hoagie, Russell Henley, Daniel Berger, Billy Horschel, Taylor Gooch, John Rahm. And so we can also look at the live stats if we want to do that as well. Just kind of look at stat regression as well, see who's like most likely to improve stat-wise. I don't like to look at this too much because it's kind of just pointing out like you can cherry pick stats a little bit more. A lot of people like to cherry pick putting stats, which can be very misleading. I shouldn't say very misleading, but they can be misleading to get you on like the wrong path. So I just like to look at everything like general and put it into one stat rather than kind of cherry pick a stat. So be careful with this, but we can kind of see it does check out. Like Victor Hovland, Kyle Morikawa, John Rahm, Seamus Power has been a stud this year, so there's no surprise there. Like all these golfers that made the cut that haven't played to kind of their expectations are popping up there as well. So no big shock there for the golfers that are popping up here. So, all right, so getting into the round ranking here, we got Justin Thomas popping up as the best pick for round 2 or round 3 there. It makes sense. He's a guy that was expected to play better, and he gets his bad round out of the way and he's good to go. And then Daniel Berger typically does better in round 3. Makes sense. He's a guy that can get hot. He was a good stat rank play, top 15 in the model. Makes sense. Patrick Cantlay, another same thing. I really do like Patrick Cantlay and Justin Thomas on this round 3. Those are guys that I think will play better. Nice to see Cameron Smith popping up there as well, 5th. And I want to point out, second most likely to win. Justin Thomas, third most likely to win, okay, heading into round 3. So 2 outright bets that we're already on, so probably don't need to get on those guys anymore. Scotty Scheffler is the most likely to win. But just looking at, hey, these golfers are the golfers that are most likely to play well in round 3. And then you could also possibly place outright bets on them as well. They could possibly catch Scotty Scheffler there. So like Shane Lowry, top 4 pick in round 3 showdown. Also 4th most likely to win heading into round 3. So that's the way you can use this data. Okay, guys. So I will say Cameron Smith got his bad round out of the way. That's very encouraging to me, especially because like the last 5 holes, I think he was firing darts and he only made like 2 birdies. He could have easily made more birdies than that. So really to be, well, he's 6 back. Okay. But to be other than Scotty Scheffler, to be like 1 back from the field for third place, I guess. Phenomenal to have that bad of a round to start off with and be right there. Really good stuff from Cameron Smith. So I do expect him to have a better round 3. It seems like he got his bad round out of the way. Same thing with Justin Thomas. Sure, he's probably not going to go -5 again, but he's probably going to get a under par score, and that's really what you're shooting for in round 3. You want to focus on those guys that are going to go even par or under par. You don't need any of those explosion rounds. I don't mind Jon Rahm. I do expect him to have another like even keel round. I thought his rank would be a little bit better here, 12th, but he does seem like a safe play. You could go with him as well. Russell Henley. Russell Henley is a golfer that, you know, if you just take out his 1 bad round, or not 1 bad round, his 1 bad hole, his first hole, 2 doubles, you turn those into pars, he's -1. So maybe he figures out how to start off the round. And if he does, not a bad pick, still ranking out top 15. That's not bad. Seamus Power popping up there, that's a little bit shocking to me. I don't really expect him to play well, but I should note that he's popping up there for you guys. So, you know, we can see a value play, Tom Hoagie popping up there. That would be an interesting name. You can go with that if you want to. You know, these are some of the golfers that typically can pop and do well in round 3, and they're typically low owned. So you could roll with like Tommy Fleetwood, Tom Hoagie, because no one is going out of their way to play them pretty much because they didn't play well. And even though the data says that they probably are going to be good picks, it does worry, especially in a tougher event and a event where the weather could play a factor. It's going to be colder, still kind of windy. So I get why people would stray away from that and maybe go a safer route, going like Cam Smith, going Shane Lowry, going Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas. That makes perfect sense to me. But it is a way to gain edge for a similar play. Okay. So, you know, that pretty much sums up what I was trying to kind of help you guys out here. You know, round 3 showdown, round 2 showdown, even round 1 showdown. I try to make it as direct as possible with the data and with the picks. That's why I go with the rankings. Okay, guys, that's why I go with it. It's hard to produce content when it's just like, boom, here are the top picks. And I just, that's part of the simplicity part that I go for with you guys, to just kind of take, I don't want to say take the fun out of it, because I mean, that is kind of what I'm doing, taking the fun out of it for you guys, but I want it to be as straightforward as possible. Okay. Let's just run an optimal lineup for round 3, just to tell you guys what that looks like. So an optimal lineup for round 3 is generating right now. The most optimal lineup you can run for round 3 is going to be Daniel Berger, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Taylor Gooch, and Tommy Fleetwood. Okay, interesting there. We'll see. We'll see how that one does. All right, that's all I have for you guys. Let's have a good week. We know it. And let's keep cashing.